Yes, it's a great good afternoon. Remember, we do this each and every Sunday on the Big Chill on Galaxy Region Radio Flora, and we have the segment called The Vault, where we discuss and we look at different things that are different happening in different parts of the world. Mamma mia, I'm getting tongue twisted. Why am I? What's happening with me this afternoon? But anyway, broadcasting all the way from Germany with DJ Nyams, and this afternoon I'm joined in by Pardon Gambakwe, who is the founder, the CEO, a presenter, a broadcaster from Gambakwe Media. Mr. Gambakwe, it's a great good afternoon. Welcome to Galaxy Region Radio Flora.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me this afternoon.
Okay. So, Pardon Gambakwe, you've been in the media. You've been doing some media. Tell us, how's been the journey of media?
Yes, and thank you very much for that question. I have been running Gambakwe Media for the past 14 years, and mostly I cover Zimbabwean news and also current affairs for South Africa and the regions around our country, which is SADC. And the experience has been extremely interesting. It's been an interesting journey because we started off in a different environment, but Zimbabwe has become very topical. A lot of things always happen on a single day. So I stream every day, at least 2 times. And we also publish news as it happens. So we've got almost 20 or 30 pieces of news every day coming out of Gambakwe Media. It's been a good growth, and it's been a very interesting journey.
Okay. You being in the media in the media industry right now, what is it? What difference do you think you've made using the power of media?
It's been a very marked difference in our media space. Zimbabwe has got very few media houses, especially electronic media. We have very few media, even less few, who cover current affairs. Most of the media that we have covers entertainment, they do skits, and the people tend to stay away from politics. So our media has been very much in the game in terms of politics, being a newspaper that I started from student politics or student activism. So the big difference is our news is political, and we don't shy away from the political conversation.
Okay. Now you bring me back to an interesting point. You figure out most people who do electronic media who are in Zimbabwe never cover politics. Why is it so? Why would people want to understand why is it so?
It's very dangerous in Zimbabwe to cover politics. The political environment in Zimbabwe is very constrained, and a lot can happen to you. As I speak to you right now, 100 people are in jail. At least 100 people, opposition activists, have been jailed for statements that they made on the social media and for gathering in a house. It's not a normal environment. That is why people are scared for their lives.
Okay. Now you also get me into a very interesting topic of what has been happening of late. We've seen a lot of activists being arrested. We've got the 79 from Avondale. We've got the other guys who were just this week removed from an airplane at the RG airport. We've got Jacob Garivumi. We're not yet sure about Job Scala, but we've got also another student activist. Yesterday, as we counted almost about 21 people who we know had been abducted. Now, you in the media, how easy have you been passing on this information? Because the media has got the power to do this, to pass on the information out there. How have you found it to get information regarding these abductions?
Yes, it's been very easy. And as I said, 2 times a day, I'm live myself talking about this very same issue. So a lot of people give us information, and a lot of people are engaged. We get at least 50,000 views a day on our platform with people following on this kind of news. If you were to check the state press or the mainstream media in Zimbabwe right now, you would think that this is not happening. So people are coming to alternative media to get this information. So it's been very easy for us to inform the public.
You're in Zambia, right? The last time when you're trying to cover the SADC summit that was happening there, and you had challenges. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it was not just challenges. I was arrested in Zambia, and it's only out of the intervention of other people that I was able to come out of Zambia, because the Zambians are obviously very democratic. So unlike Zimbabwe, where people have been arrested and they stayed in jail, I'm back here after only 6 hours of being arrested. For being in that place, I was covering inside Mlungushi International Conference Center, and the police didn't like it, so they took me and they arrested me, and obviously I was charged, but I managed to come out. Unfortunately for the guys who are in Zimbabwe, they are not able to come out. The environment in Zimbabwe is extremely repressive. But the question that you're asking about Zambia, the purpose why I said we should go to Zambia is because of what is happening right now. Zimbabwe is not on the SADC agenda right now of CEO or of the SADC MCO, Ministerial or Committee of the Organ. They did not put Zimbabwe on the agenda. So the purpose of people going to Zambia was to alert SADC that there are problems in Zimbabwe. And unfortunately, people do not understand it. They thought they could just demonstrate in Zimbabwe. The problems in Zimbabwe are deeper than a demonstration. There is a systematic problem in Zimbabwe where the whole systems in the country have collapsed. That is why the military can be used as a weapon. And if you go to the court can be used against you. If you go to the bank, there's no money in the bank. If you go to schools, you have to do extra lessons. Nothing is working in the country because every single system that you know in the country has collapsed.
Okay. Right now, let's look at Zimbabwe as a country. We've seen the arrest of activists. We've seen the arrest and detention of media personnel. We've literally seen anybody who speaks anything against the government of Zimbabwe gets arrested, right? You as a media person, what do you think can be a solution to some of these problems?
I've not shied away from that conversation. I've said, and my views are very clear. Zimbabwe needs a fresh election, but before a fresh election, Zimbabwe needs a transitional system which will address the systematic issues in our country. So the reports are clear that the last election was rigged. And as someone who is more of a commentator and a media owner, I can clearly say this, the country is not functional ever since that election. And therefore, it's important for dialogue to take place, which will lead to a transitional system leading to fresh elections. Nothing short of that will address the problems in our country.
Okay. President Mnangagwa is going to be the SADC chairman, right? The SADC summit is going to be held in Zimbabwe, but one of the guidelines of the SADC is they could easily move that summit out of Zimbabwe into another country due to the human rights issues that are happening currently at the moment. Why don't you think SADC is doing that? Is that an intentional thing that the SADC leaders are doing?
Okay, so I think I also want to mention that I went to the SADC head office. So I'm probably the only journalist in Zimbabwe who is going to SADC head office. And I went there to talk to the people at SADC. And what they explained to me is that before someone can be made a chairperson of SADC, there is a vote among the president to say, can a person become the SADC president? And that vote was held, and Mnangagwa came out on top.
Yeah.
Right. So Mnangagwa got elected as SADC chairman. So if that is to be moved, that process has to go through the agenda of SADC. That is what I was trying to explain to people. That Mnangagwa cannot just be removed from SADC president. He's already the incoming president of SADC. And if that was to happen, then they will have to put it on the agenda. And Mnangagwa then won't be able to chair SADC because he'll be on the agenda. But because people failed to put Mnangagwa on the agenda, that is why you see that he's able to become the chairperson of SADC.
Okay.
Moving the summit is also the same. When you move a SADC or SADC summit, this has to be discussed at a certain body of SADC. It's not just done by anyone. It has to be through a process. That is why I said Zambia was so important. Because all these things were going to happen if people had gone to Zambia and demonstrated over there, not demonstrating at the summit in Zimbabwe.
Okay. Gambakwe, we've seen the rest of someone like Bishop Nyamakanga And you work with Bishop Nyamakanga towards this whole SADC protest and everything. What's the current situation with Bishop Nyamakanga? Is he okay? Is he safe? Is he attended court? Has he been located? Do you know any information?
Yes, Bishop Nyamakanga was arrested yesterday, was in fact abducted, and he appeared in court. So he was abducted on Friday. He appeared in court on Saturday. And I've given an update in the morning. I've even shared the court papers on Gambakwe.com. So if you go to Gambakwe.com, you'll be able to see the papers, the court papers or the charge sheets over there.
So what's the charge sheet? Just give us a background. What's the charge sheet? Where is he? Is he okay? Because we've seen some of these activists, they've been assaulted.
I don't know if he's been assaulted or not, but what I know is that he's being charged for what happened, what he's been saying online. Sort of like they're saying he's been organizing protests. He's been remanded, or they're going to appear again in court on the 7th, which is on Wednesday. So there's no information. The state press is not giving information. The government is not giving information. The police are not giving information. So all we have is that paper which says he's been charged for organizing a protest.
Okay. So what is the way forward now as we stand here with the current situation in Zimbabwe? What are your recommendations? What's the way forward?
Right. The biggest recommendation is SADC must step in and call for a dialogue with Zimbabwe. Then we need to go to a transitional authority and a fresh election.
Okay, Gambakwe, the dialogue between who and who? That's where the challenge becomes.
Between the political players. So the people who were in the election, Nelson Chamisa and Mnangagwa, those are the two people who were in the election.
All right.
The dialogue must be political. It mustn't be a general dialogue. It's a political dialogue.
Okay. So now here's the technicality that comes through, because we've been discussing this with other people. The technicality is Nelson Chamisa and Emmerson Mnangagwa went for an election. But the biggest technicality is Nelson Chamisa went an election under the Triple C, and he has since resigned. So it cannot be Nelson Chamisa and Emmerson Mnangagwa, because Nelson Chamisa is partyless. That's already a technicality that is there, and that one cannot be ignored.
Yeah, but do you know why Nelson Chamisa resigned?
Yeah, but the fact that he resigned and he no longer belongs to the party that he went to an election with, that is the greatest technicality. You understand?
Yeah, but if I come to your house, right, and I beat you up so badly that you leave your house, is it fine that now I own your house?
No, but look here. If you come to my house, you beat me up, you understand? And it doesn't mean you own my house. But if I then take my title deed and decide to say, I'm getting rid of this title deed, then you own my house. That's a problem. You see?
Yeah. So I think maybe we can have a difference there.
Yeah.
What I believe is that everything that happened after that election is not relevant. We need to reset back to the day before the election.
So for me, I think
everything that happened is irrelevant.
So for me, when you talk about dialogue, Gambakwe, let's have a dialogue between all the presidential candidates, all the political players, you understand? And let's have sort of a transitional government, you understand, that puts us through into a fresh election in 2028. For me, I think that could be a solution.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that because I don't believe that the people who contested the elections made a dent. They don't have any popularity. They don't have any supporters. We must accept what the people want. The people want Nelson Chamisa. So for now, let's accept that Nelson Chamisa is the person that needs to be in that dialogue with Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa rigged Nelson Chamisa. He didn't rig everyone else.
Okay. On that one, we are clear and we understand that one. Chamisa is the person's favorite people. Chamisa has got the numbers. But that technicality, when you even talk to legal people, they always tell you about that technicality. They say the fact that he resigned from CCC, it then makes the whole process null and void. Anyway, Gambakwe, let's just to move on. You spoke about that the dialogue is another option. Let's look at other options that you think would work to save Zimbabwe from all this mess that we're currently in.
Mnangagwa can step down right now by himself.
Do you think he'll step down?
Well, he's obviously going for a third term. That means he doesn't want to step down.
I don't think you go for a third term.
Yeah.
I'm a bit.
But why are you saying that? Because he's already going for a third term.
No, he's not going for a third term. He's going for a second. He's completing his second term. I don't think you go. When I look at the odds, I don't think Mnangagwa will go for a third term. But obviously, the issue of elections, accountability, transparency, and democratic institutions needs to be addressed. No matter even if Mnangagwa finishes his second term or he steps down, as long as those things are not sorted out, we will not get anywhere. I don't know. That's my view and that's my thought. I don't know. What do you think about such things like that there?
Okay, so to answer your question on stepping down, I don't think Mnangagwa will step down by himself. So that means ZANU-PF people have to force him to step down, and they have to find a successor to Mnangagwa. Because Mnangagwa is currently the problem. That's my view. In terms of other issues, I really haven't applied my mind to that depth. But I think those two options, a dialogue which leads to a fresh election after a transitional system, and Mnangagwa stepping down for an immediate planned election, that to make sense, as long as there's no rigging. Because the problem in Zimbabwe has been rigging of the election.
So now, Gambakwe, just to finish off our interview, let's talk about the issue of safety of journalists, media persons, and stuff. I personally have also received threats, you understand, via my WhatsApp, over I think the past 2-3 years. You understand? And I think the same has happened to you. And it has happened to so many other people who are out of Zimbabwe. How do you address the issue of the safety of journalists and media personnel? Because what we're only doing our job. We're only telling the stories that are not being told in Zimbabwe.
Yes. So the first thing that I want to mention is that journalism is a very dangerous job. This year, the largest number of journalists have been killed while at work. And the situation in Zimbabwe is very strange because if you're a journalist and you stay in the country, you can't report on anything that is happening in that country. So basically, all the journalists that they've had to leave the country. So that's the first thing. It's clear that you have to leave the country. The question then becomes, how do you make a living outside of the country when practicing as a journalist? And then secondly, when you cover stories like politics in Zimbabwe, you have to have a thick skin. So you should be able to maneuver around that. Remember that you're not dealing with weak people. There's intelligence whose job is just to destroy your image and to destroy you. But the job has to be done. So you basically have to stay safe. And you should be willing not to go back to Zimbabwe. That is one of the things that you have to understand. But there's no way that you can ever be safe as a journalist in Zimbabwe if you're dealing with politics.
Okay. So, Gambakwe, it's been nice talking to you. Do you have any parting shots before I let you go?
Yeah, so I just wanted to know more about your shows. How often do you publish? How often are you online?
We do this show each and every Sunday between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. And we've got this segment called The Vault, which happens on from 3 to 3:30 p.m. on every single Sunday. That's when we hold such a show and discussions. But our show happens on Sunday between 2 and 5.
Okay, so during the week you do not have any shows?
No, during the week we don't. I think the rest we can always discuss out of the platform, so that because we've got the next show, the next segment that is coming through.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much.
But how do people follow you and get to understand about Gambakwe Media?
Okay, we are Gambakwe Media on every platform: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all those platforms.
Okay. Pardon Gambakwe, it's been great talking to you. I was talking to Pardon Gambakwe all the way from South Africa. And definitely, if you want to also watch this interview that we had with him, if you missed it out, you can always follow it on YouTube. We're going to upload it on YouTube, and it's also be on Gambakwe Media. So from me to you, this is going to be Galaxy Radio and Radio Flora with DJ Yams. Let's continue this show, and we now get into the old school on your big station. Thank you, and keep it locked on.
Thank you, Yams.